the Bax and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax. No Grant. Grant is off for the summer months, but we look to have him back in the studio in only a few short weeks as we get ready to go to a 5-day-a-week schedule. That's right, you heard it, starting August 24th. The show that you know, that you love, that you tell your friends and family and gifted animals about, the Bax and Grant Sports Show, will be going 5 days a week, and it'll be an exciting time. You'll be able to catch us on Sports Radio America from 11 to 1 Central Time or 12 to 2 Eastern, depending on what time zone. And if you live in a different time zone, well, adjust accordingly, obviously. But those are the two main time zones here in the U.S., so adjust accordingly depending on where you live. But we've got a lot of fun and exciting things happening on the show today. We'll be joined by several of our favorite people. Matt Evans of Vavel USA will be joining the show shortly. Joshua Thompson of SidelinesApp.com will be joining us. And then a new guest, Casey Korth, will be joining the show as well to talk about the Green Bay Packers training camp. Yes, we're going to talk about the Green Bay Packers for those of you that are not Packer fans out there. We're based in Wisconsin. It would be a cardinal sin if we didn't talk about the Packers on the show occasionally. I mean, I'm from Green Bay. I live 5 minutes from the stadium. Packers have a special place in my heart. But we'll get to that way later on in the show. For those of you listening, though, remember you can catch us on Sports Radio America during our summer show time on Mondays from 7 to 10 Eastern on Sports Radio America, Live 365, and tune in. You can also download our podcast on iTunes and listen to us on demand anytime on Spreaker.com and, of course, on iHeartRadio. You can also watch us and listen to us technically on Periscope as well. There's a link. Go to our Twitter page, and you can find the link to watch the Periscope episode right now. So salute to all of you watching there in Periscope land. If any of you watching during the show have questions or comments, please feel free to comment. We love and hear what you have to think about us. And, of course, the best way to get a hold of us, though, is via social media. Facebook would be the best way to do it, if not Twitter as well. Facebook, the Bax and Grant Sports Show. And then you have us on Twitter at BG Sports Show, and then also on Instagram and Snapchat, BG Sports Show for both of those. If you use the hashtag, the Bax Grant Sports Show, you will have the picture that you take or the video that you take show up on our show page on sportsradioamerica.com. Show us you in your favorite jersey at a game, how you watch games, how you listen to the show, any of that. We love hearing from you, the listener. And if you have a more lengthy thing that you want to tell us, shoot us an email at bgsportshow@gmail.com. Love hearing from all of you guys. So, like I mentioned earlier in the show, I guess another thing, too, if you feel like following me on Twitter, you're more than welcome to. You can follow me at Baxter Colburn. Pretty straightforward. The Q in Baxter is silent. Just kidding, there's no Q in Baxter. But either way, you can find me on Twitter that way. Grant's Twitter changes every other day, so I have no idea what his is. So when he comes back, he'll make sure to have a more legible one. It was CU Smith something. It was Skillet Fan something. I have no idea what it is now. So he and Connor are pretty horrible when it comes to having a Twitter presence, but I do my best when it comes to that. But anyway, it's an exciting show. It's an exciting time, and to get things rolling, who better to talk to get things rolling about a hot topic in the world than Matt Evans? We're going to be chatting with Matt Evans of Vavel USA about Russell Wilson because that man just got paid, Matt, and he got paid millions of dollars. Would you not say that?
Yes. Oh my gosh, it was quite a relief for Seahawks fans over here in the Pacific Northwest to wake up on Friday morning there and see that Russell Wilson had finally signed that deal. Great deal for both player and team as well.
You think so? 4 years, $87.6 million. Is he really worth that much money, Matt?
I think so. And the reason why is because, in football society these days, it's more of a statistics-driven league now.
Of course.
That's what most sports are going to, with sabermetrics in baseball and, fantasy football being just a huge thing. Everyone's looking at, points and yards and touchdowns and whatnot.
Oh, absolutely.
But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, though, the thing that counts the most is the W. And Russell Wilson is according to my research here, he's the winningest quarterback of the top 20 paid quarterbacks right now. He's the winningest quarterback in his first 3 seasons as a starter with a 36-12 record for a 750 winning percentage.
Which
behind him is Tom Brady.
Okay, I was going to say, which is hard to believe because how much I would be curious to see the breakdown of how much Russell Wilson has actually done in those games to impact the outcome. Not to say what most people say is that Russell Wilson has found success because of the defense, which is, I feel, fairly true. But there are times where we've seen moments of brilliance from Russell, and he's done a fantastic job. I got to experience him for a year at Wisconsin when he was here, his senior season, and now you have him out west at Seattle. The man is talented. I will give him that. I will absolutely not take away from the fact that Russell Wilson is a talented mobile quarterback that has definitely changed the persona of what a mobile quarterback is in the NFL, because you have mobile quarterbacks. Tom Brady is not a mobile quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is a mobile quarterback. Russell Wilson is a different brand of mobile quarterback. He's the Michael Vick of Madden, whatever it was, 2007 or something, with 99 speed where you can run anywhere on the field with him. And he's changed the game as it was in terms of being a mobile quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you there, and I agree with you in the sense that that he may not. There may be a lot of games that he hasn't directly had a hand in. The outcome, whether it be that that big pass at the end. Marshawn Lynch is really the guy that is the quote the best player on the team. And I mean, if you really think about it, you look at the team right now, and Russell Wilson could be considered to be not even in the top 5 of guys on the team. I mean, you've got Cam Chancellor, and you've got Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas, and now Jimmy Graham and Marshawn Lynch. I mean, Russell Wilson could legitimately be considered the 6th best player on the team.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's the position that he plays, though. The quarterback is such an important position that I don't think he deserves to be the top paid player in the league like he wanted to do. Aaron Rodgers definitely deserves that.
It's going to say it would be hard to argue against that, because how many times, taking the Packer bias out of this opinion, how many times have we seen Aaron Rodgers win a game by himself for the Packers than we've seen Russell Wilson win a game by himself for the Seahawks? Exactly.
We haven't seen those. We haven't seen a lot of those 8-play drives in the last 2 minutes where it's just pass. Normally there are some passes involved, but he's there's the element of maybe handing off to Marshawn, and Marshawn busts a big play.
Yep, absolutely, beast mode, as it were.
I do think that Russell deserves to be paid as well as he is right now.
Sure,
but I'm glad that he isn't the top paid player in the league there.
Yes, no, I would have to agree with you. Looking at quarterbacks as a whole, because as we were talking about this, Matt, we were talking about obviously if Russell Wilson's contract, and then we were going to talk about the other quarterbacks around the league. And it's hard because the question, you put so much value on a quarterback on your team. I mean, look at any team. If you don't have a good quarterback, you're not going to go anywhere. Just look at, Jacksonville, Tennessee, even Tampa Bay, for gosh sakes. Those are lower, product teams because, yes, they've got multiple issues on their squad, but a big issue is they don't have a solid quarterback. If you look around the league and look at the 2015 quarterback cap hit rankings, as it were, provided by SportTrack.com, Drew Brees is going to be making $26.4 million next season. $26.4 million. I'm a little shocked by that, Matt. Are you?
Oh yeah, he's a talented quarterback, but he's on the wrong side of 30, and it's getting to a point now where he needs to start, that contract specifically needs to kind of go into the Tom Brady type, where he's restructuring to maybe take less of a cap hit to open up more space for other players. That's something that I respect so much about Tom Brady. Is right now he's making $9 million this year, according to the I think it was overthecap.com. I think so.
Tom Brady, you said?
But Tom Brady is making.
Okay,
like he's the.
I was going to say
Tom Brady is the 20th ranked quarterback according to the list that I had. I'm pretty sure it was overthecap.com. I'll have to confirm that again.
Because I'm looking at.
Yeah, but
I was going to say because what I'm looking at for Brady right now, he's projected to make $14 million this season.
Okay, this could be. I think this isn't cap hit per se. I think this is just like
this is overall cap hit, like what they're going to cost the team this year, and that I'm sure what you're looking at is different, obviously, but that's just what I have on my end.
But even still, 14.2 is for Tom Brady, that opens up a lot of cap room to put in maybe another wide receiver or solidify the defense with somebody who's better than who you could pay a little bit more for a free agent who could be a game changer, as opposed to Drew Brees there, where he said 26.4. That's number's getting ridiculous.
That's incredibly too high, and that raises the question, are quarterbacks paid too much in the NFL, Matt? I feel like that's a topic that needs to be discussed. Obviously, it would be great to discuss it in length. We don't have that kind of time, but with the few minutes that we do have, I'm curious to hash this out with you, Matt. Are quarterbacks as a whole paid too much in the NFL? I mean, look at guys like Colin Kaepernick is going to make $15.2 million next year. Aaron Rodgers is going to make $18 million. Eli Manning is going to make $19 million. Jay Cutler, what a guy, $16.5 million next year. I mean, and then you scroll down the list, at least on my end, I'm looking, Andrew Luck is only going to make $7 million next year. I'd say he's far more important to the Colts organization than even guys like Kaepernick at San Fran or even Jay Cutler in Chicago.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. And yes, quarterbacks are overpaid, but like we mentioned earlier, it's the quarterback is such an integral position on the team.
Absolutely.
It's an important part of the team because, we see teams like Jacksonville who have, are stuck with Blake Bortles, who don't get me wrong, he's a solid quarterback, but, these teams would be willing to pay, an arm and maybe two legs to get a good quarterback. Yeah, they would probably pay even, 25-30 million for a player, like to have somebody like Ben Roethlisberger on their team. I mean, the problem is I don't think it's something we'll ever see changed because of the position and just the importance that's put around it. And it is an important position. It really is.
It is.
But but to see that one person take up so much of your cap space is just it can be. I mean, we'll see how it affects the Seahawks this year. This is the first time. $800,000,
which I think is going to be interesting because now he has this added pressure on him moving forward with okay, is he worth it? And that will be the talk the next 4 years, regardless of how good or bad Seattle does as a whole. The talk will be, well, was Russell Wilson worth that $87 million that he signed on for? Because I feel like Chicago can safely say, Jay Cutler was not worth that $100 million or $126 million that he is making. $54,000 of that obviously is guaranteed, but somebody like Jay Cutler, he's not going to be a free agent again until 2021, for God's sakes. Like, come on, like that's somebody like him does not need to be paid that much money over that long a time.
And that's the beauty of this Russell Wilson deal, is the fact that it's only a 4-year extension. So when his contract goes up in 2020, he's still going to be 30 years old and have a chance to even exceed this contract if he plays well.
Absolutely. And then you have to take into account inflation, of course, as well. So, I mean, exactly. 87 now, he could get the same contract as it, quote unquote, but it could be another 20 or 30 million dollars because of how the economy goes, just, talking numbers as a whole. So I'm curious, Matt, as we look at Russell Wilson, as we look at other quarterbacks around the league, if you had the opportunity to set a cap in terms of how much a quarterback could make a year, what do you think would be a good number? I personally feel about $15 million a year, I think would be a good number, because you can get your higher quarterbacks like Rodgers, Brady, Manning, Breeze, some of those other guys. I think about $15 million a year is a good amount, because it's like, look, you're still going to make a lot of money long term, but at the same time, you're not going to break the bank like Drew Brees, who's making $26 million this year.
Yeah, that's the exact number that I would have picked too. I mean, $15 million it's good money. It's money that it's going to take care of not only this quarterback's generation but future generations as well, and it doesn't break the bank of an NFL team. So,
yes.
Yeah, $15 million is. I like that number for a quarterback cap.
Well, I'm so glad we're on the same page. Now, real fast, speaking of Colin Kaepernick, I know you're a big fan of him, being a Seahawks fan.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you know this or not. When he signed his new deal last year, it was a 6-year, $114 million deal. He's guaranteed to make $61 million of that contract.
Yeah. I actually have that number up right here. I was literally just looking at that.
That is just stupid to me, honestly.
Yeah.
Talk about...
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just... I don't even know. I don't even know what to say there. Colin Kaepernick, I mean, he's... Yeah, you want to talk about Russell Wilson, being overpaid, man. I could go on for hours about Colin Kaepernick.
Oh, I feel like a lot of people could, honestly. And, I mean, you can... make numerous arguments about, a one-hit wonder gone to crap, as it were. But yeah, we don't have that kind of time to give Colin that kind of press. So Matt, always a pleasure, sir. Any other final thoughts before we send you on your way?
First of all, just congratulations on the 5 days a week. Absolutely wonderful news. I am one of those few people that does actually tell my dog about your show. So yes, there are people
I appreciate it.
that.
Do you convert it to Roughology so that way they're able to listen?
Yes. I'm studying it right now, I think, in college.
I appreciate
that. Congratulations. Very excited to see where it goes, and thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, man. I appreciate it. Matt Evans, one of the fine writers and editors over at Vavel USA. Matt, always a pleasure, sir. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, man.
No problem. All right, well, we're going to go to a break. Always a good time here on the Bax and Grand Sports Show. Matt Evans, keeping it real. Colin Kaepernick, what a guy. We'll have to get into him a whole nother time because that could literally be an entire show talking about the ebb and flow that is Colin Kaepernick. You want to talk about buying way too early or jumping on the bandwagon. San Fran fans know about that a little too well. So, San Fran fans out there listening and watching, sorry, guys. So sorry. Could have drafted Aaron Rodgers a few years ago, but you decided to go with Alex Smith. So, from Green Bay to San Fran, thank you. We appreciate that. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, Ronda Rousey doing Ronda Rousey things. And Major League Soccer, I didn't know that you could score as many goals as they did in this weekend's action. We're going to talk about that and a lot more. This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. Welcome back to the Bax and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax. No Grant. Grant is off for the summer, and he will return in just a few short weeks. As you may have heard during our first segment, that the Bax and Grant Sports Show will be moving to 5 days a week starting August 24th. Yes, you heard that correct. 5 days a week. So if you couldn't get enough of us once a week over the summer, or 3 days a week traditionally, you're going to get us every single day from 11 to 1. Yeah, 11 to 1. I forgot the times for a second. 11 to 1 Central or 12 to 2 Eastern on Sports Radio America, Live 365, and tune in. A lot of action going on, a lot of exciting things happening in the sports world, and it's hard to look past topics like Deflategate because everybody wants to talk about it. Everybody has an opinion about it. I'm not going to give Deflategate any airtime this week, unfortunately. So I feel I'm going to do a civil service to the great people of the United States of America by not talking about Deflategate in any way, shape, or form. If you have an opinion about it, you're welcome to shoot us an email, bgsportshow@gmail.com, or Facebook us, the Bax and Grant Sports Show, or on Twitter, BG Sports Show, and let us know your thoughts about it. Everybody's got their opinions, everybody's got their thoughts and comments about it, but at the end of the day, I'm done talking about it. So that's kind of the stance that we're taking on the show right now. Like I said, if you feel like discussing it, I'm happy to off the air, but I'm done giving it on air time. So moving on to something that is much more exciting and much more I think enjoyable for most people, unless you're on the receiving end of it. Connor Christensen is not on the show today to give us his fight corner, but I didn't want to go without mentioning UFC 190, as we saw Ronda Rousey continue her dominance in the ring, as she is now overall she's now completely undefeated in all aspects of UFC fighting, and she is now. It only took her 34 seconds to regain her bantamweight title over, I really don't know how to pronounce her name, Beth Correa, I believe, or Bethy Correa. Either way, it doesn't really matter because Rousey destroyed her in 34 seconds by knockout. And it just kind of continues to raise the conversation as a whole about, is Ronda Rousey the most dominant athlete ever? Or is she the most dominant female athlete? Is she the best athlete as a whole right now? You could make a lot of different arguments in terms of, how good you think she is. I mean, she is arguably one of the most notable figures in the sports world. Usually, you can go up to just about anybody on the street and say, hey, do you know who LeBron James is? Do you know who Kobe Bryant is? Michael Jordan, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. People are going to know who those people are. I mean, if you're a really hardcore baseball fan, you're going to know Mike Trout. You're going to know Clayton Kershaw, Madison Bumgarner, some of those people. But to say Ronda Rousey to most anybody, either on the street or just in normal sports conversation, 90, I'd say, 90 might be a little high, but I'd say at least 75 to 80% of America knows who Ronda Rousey is, if not more, and hopefully more, because she's definitely earned it. Now, Ronda, it's funny because now that she's won, she had her press conference after, and she was talking with reporters, and she said that she hopes that she didn't. She hopes that the player that the person that she beat, Correa, didn't cry. She hopes, she's like, well, I hope I didn't make you cry, even though she probably did. And an interesting story: Olympic sprinter and hurdler Lolo Jones came out today and said that she could last a minute in the octagon with Ronda Rousey because of her speed, which I get. Lolo Jones is a sprinter, but that also means you're running straight. You're not running in circles. You're not having someone trying to beat the crap out of you as you're running. It's a little different game in that regards. I feel like Rousey would pretty much end her existence as a whole because there's really not much to Lolo Jones. Yeah, she's relatively built, but she's not anywhere near to the same, figure, as it were, in physical presence that is Ronda Rousey. So Lolo Jones, just stick to running because you're relatively good for the Olympic team, and we'd really hate for you to have your career ended by meeting Ronda. So that's all I have really to offer because I don't have all the expert analysis and insight in terms of what Connor does, because Connor is our fight corner expert, which we know and love him for, and very much value him for that. In regards to a sport that I do know a lot about, though, we can definitely talk about soccer because Major League Soccer is something that is going on right now. Yes, believe it or not, there is soccer going on, and it is a part of the great world that is my life because soccer is a huge, huge thing. A record-breaking weekend in Major League Soccer. I'm gonna just take a moment and relish the fact that my favorite team, the New England Revolution, won. So I'm very thrilled about that. They beat Toronto FC 3-1. Super excited. Way to go, Charlie Davies and company, scoring 2 goals from Davies, 1 from Lee Win. What really blows my mind, though, just on Saturday, between the 2, 4, 6, 8 games that took place, there were 59 goals that were scored between the 8 games. 59! The highest scoring game was a 6-4 stunning finish between DC United and Real Salt Lake. You also had Orlando City win 5-2 against Columbus Crew. Montreal Impact, they won their game 3-2. Vancouver scored 3 goals against the Seattle Sounders, 3-0. The Galaxy scored 3 goals against Colorado in a 3-1 victory. The Red Bulls got a 3-1 victory over the Union. We talked about the Revolution. And then the one boring game, Sporting Kansas City and Houston Dynamo, only go 1-1. I mean, come on, guys. You had one job, score a goal and win the game. And they end up tying 1-1, which... whatever. Take it or leave it. Totally fine. San Jose and Portland and Chicago and FC Dallas will more than likely push that total up a little higher. Those games are going on as we speak. San Jose and Portland are in the 80th minute, 0-0 there. Chicago and FC Dallas play in about another 15 or 20 minutes. So not too much going on in terms of surprises. Taking a quick look, I know I'm going to keep talking soccer for a little bit, so bear with me, all of you non-soccer people that are out there. Taking a quick look at the standings in the Eastern Conference, the 6 teams in playoff. That would be, if the playoffs started today, these are the 6 teams that are there. DC United in first place with 41 points. The New York Red Bulls with 32. Columbus Crew, 31. New England Revolution, 31. Toronto FC, 28. And the Montreal Impact, 27. Now, Orlando City is at 7, just outside the playoffs, but they have 27 points as well. But the Impact have a better overall in that regards, goal difference, blah, blah, blah. All that other technical mumbo-jumbo that makes soccer fans crazy. In the Western Conference, the Vancouver Whitecaps are in first place with 39 points. FC Dallas right behind them and have a chance to take first place tonight with the victory. They have 38 points. The Galaxy at 37. Sporting Kansas City at 34. Seattle Sounders at 32. And the Portland Timbers at 32. On the outside looking in, you have Real Salt Lake with 29 points. So, briefly, taking a look at your league leaders, you have Kai Kamara of the Columbus Crew with 15 goals. Halfway through the season, Sebastian Giovinco with 13, David Villa with 13, Kyle Larin with 11, and Robbie Keane with 10. Your assist leaders in Major League Soccer are Ethan Finley with 12 from the Columbus Crew. Then you have Benny Fellhopper, Christian Medina, Sebastian Giovinco, and Javier Morales. In the save category, Stephen Fry of the Seattle Sounders and Steve Clark of the Columbus Crew are tied at 75 each. Josh Saunders at 74, David Bingham at 72, and Evan Bush at 66. Major League Soccer, I love it, personally. I mean, go check it out. A lot of people have an issue with following soccer when it's not, the World Cup. It's not as bad as you think, people, honestly. How many of you actually watch the NWSL? How many of you actually know what the NWSL is? That's what I thought. The NWSL is the National Women's Soccer League. That's where all of the U.S. women's national team stars, along with Canada and Mexico and a bunch of other countries. That's where all the best players play. It's here in America. Check it out, nwslsoccer.com. Huge, huge league. People love it. Fantastic talent, honestly. If you had the comparison of the talent that was in the NWSL and Major League Soccer would arguably be probably one of the top 2 or 3 leagues in the world. Something to keep in mind. Go check it out, nwslsoccer.com, and then mlssoccer.com as well for all your latest women's and men's professional soccer here in the United States. I'm going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to be welcoming in Joshua Thompson of SideLineZap.com. We've got our AFC West and NFC West previews. Josh is a Raiders fan. I didn't know that was a thing, but apparently he's a Raiders fan. So I'm curious to hear what he has to say about how he thinks the Raiders are going to do. And he's also got some beef with the Seattle Seahawks. So we'll talk about that and a lot more. This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Bax and Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax. Grant's off for the summer, but he'll be back starting August 24th when we go 5 days a week. Yes, you heard it, 5 days, 5 días a week. For our Hispanic listening audience, we appreciate your listenership as well. It's interesting because as I go through the show and I do the planning and everything that goes into this show, we look at statistics in terms of, our listener demographic and geolocation and all those crazy technical things that you can do if you actually want to. And we do, because it helps us gauge, where to find the content that really helps drive a listenership. And for those of you that don't know, we actually have a relatively strong presence in England. I know. Crazy, right? Because we don't talk about soccer that much. But we've got some good friends. Simon Mitchell, one of my good friends, good friend of ours. We're going to have him on the show several times this coming fall to talk about the Barclays Premier League. So if you're an English soccer fan, definitely keep an eye on that. He's actually also a Chicago White Sox fan. Fun fact, the British like baseball. Who'd have guessed? But Simon has done a fantastic job of spreading the gospel, as it were, that is the Bax and Grant Sports Show. It's not really. I mean, spreading the good news, as it were. And we really appreciate that. So, hey, if you're in England, check us out. Who'd have guessed? I know, I was shocked. For those of you that are listening, you're like, oh, England, who'd have guessed? But I might have to don a British accent for some of the show then to cater to it. But they'd probably yell at me and call me nasty names that I can't say in the air. So I'm going to go back to a normal speaking American accent, as it were, and bring in senior writer for SidelineZap.com, Josh Thompson. How are you, sir?
Not too bad. Thanks for having me on the show.
No problem, man. Anytime. We love having you on. You talked with us a few weeks ago about the madness that was the NBA free agency. Have you recovered from all of that, or are you still spinning from all of it?
To be completely honest, I don't know if anyone fully recovers from what was probably Armageddon during NBA free agency.
It really was, wasn't it? Like I'm not a huge NBA free agency kind of guy, and I was actually following it this year because I was just on the edge of my seat. Okay, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? Is DeAndre Jordan going to end up at the Celtics? No, I know it wasn't a thing, but honestly, at that point, I would have not counted out the Milwaukee Bucks, for gosh sakes, who had a relatively good free agency and still are doing well with adding new players, if I might add.
Well, some of the key points that made this summer so big was the first fact that everyone knew that this year's free agency was going to be big.
Yes.
Additionally, I mean, how many times was LeBron James mentioned this summer?
More than maybe people twice. Deserve to talk about.
But still, I mean, he wasn't the biggest, even though they knew for the most part where he was going to end up at, and he had a short-term deal. He wasn't the biggest story this summer. I mean, lo and behold, the hashtag things shorter than Rousey's fight, and DeAndre Jordan going from Dallas right back to Los Angeles.
Absolutely.
I mean, that was one of the biggest stories of the summer.
Is that actually a hashtag?
It is an actual hashtag. You can check it out on Twitter. Hashtag things shorter than Ronda Rousey's fight.
That's awesome. That's not many things. She does a pretty good job.
She does a very good job just bringing back the sport of UFC, making it quite exciting. I'm sure a lot of people were disappointed the fact that they paid their $50+ to see it wherever or on TV, and they got a short fight. But being consistent, I mean, she's definitely showing that she's being dominant.
And that's one thing I wonder too, is that are people really that upset when they knew? Like, I feel like they'd be more upset if it was actually a 30 to 40 minute fight. Be like, what's wrong with Ronda?
You have to kind of wonder if you know how good a movie is going to be, and then you see the movie, and then it turns out being good, and then you start complaining about the movie. You kind of wonder.
I've done that before, yes.
But nonetheless, yeah, it's definitely been a great summer so far, and I am particularly excited about the upcoming football season.
Absolutely.
With the Raiders coming up, definitely some big things to look forward to. I mean, we want to talk about free agency and some of the rookies that are now in their second year. I'm definitely looking forward to see where this team is going to end up. Actually, all the NFC and AFC West in total.
And I think that definitely does raise a lot of questions because we'll get to the Raiders here in just a moment. But let's revisit last year as it was. The AFC West, the Broncos win the division with a 12-4 record. Chiefs and Chargers go 9-7, and then unfortunately your beloved Raiders 3-13. Over in the NFC West, Seattle 12-4, they win the division. Arizona, I feel kind of surprised a lot of people last season, goes 11-5, had an unfortunate untimely end because of all their quarterback issues. San Fran, I think, equally surprised a lot of people last year because of how poorly they played. They went 8-8, and then obviously we saw Coach Harbaugh, leave town, whether it was on purpose or not. He is no longer there. And then the St. Louis Rams finished 6-10. Well, we're in the NFC West. Let's stick there for a moment. How do you give us a quick reflection on how you thought last season ended up, and then how we can look to this season?
Well, the crazy thing about the NFC West is that it's been consistent. I mean, definitely the Arizona Cardinals came out as the dark horse to win it all last season, and as you mentioned, the quarterback situation with injuries and everything definitely threw the whole division and the outcome out of whack. Seattle was still trying to find its consistency in offense throughout the season, and they had dropped a couple of games during which time you almost thought that the Arizona Cardinals could come back and take it all, and Seattle wouldn't have even been in the Super Bowl.
Oh, that would have made, I think, a lot of people happy, myself included. I was really pulling for the Cardinals at towards the end there, but I'm like, it's Seattle. There's just no way that Arizona is going to be good enough to get past them.
And it wasn't so much of like a talent thing, which was a surprising thing. So much happened after that injury that it was almost devastating to see the team that was leading the conference, and in fact, for a little bit of time, the league for a little bit, just go down in flames.
They were the only one-loss team for a majority of the season.
And that was the most surprising thing, that they had a great combination of the on-ground game, and they were very staunch at the goal line, had very great defense, and we were talking about their cornerbacks there for a little while, and all of a sudden it all fell apart.
Absolutely, and it's difficult because Seattle finished the season on a 6-game win streak, and Arizona finished it on a 2-game losing streak. Even if you take one of those losses away from Arizona, might be a totally different scenario because they both go 12-4. Might shift things up just enough.
If I remember correctly, Arizona would own the tiebreaker.
They did, yes.
And that would project them into a better seed, which, of course, then we're talking about a completely different playoffs, and we're not wondering why didn't Seattle run the ball second and goal.
We'd be talking about Aaron Rodgers and the Packers winning a Super Bowl, but
we could possibly be. I mean, with them getting voted as the best team in the ESPYs,
6-1 odds,
the best football player. It was a little bit surprising with them getting that vote, but not surprising if they would have ended up winning it all last year.
Absolutely. So, the NFC West, I honestly don't see much change. The only thing I will see different, I think, is St. Louis. I think will make a stronger push. I would love it if St. Louis gets over a 500 record this year, because I think with their ridiculously scary pass rush that they have, I think that's going to shake a lot of people up, especially trying to game plan against that. But I don't know if the offensive weapons are there, honestly.
I'm sure that Coach Fish will get them ready. My thing is trying to see if Nick Foles is actually going to be ready for playing from day one. And I think the Rams just end up with a schedule that in the long run gets them beat up. Like if they don't win some key games there during the middle of the season, their record is more of a result not of poor play, just of getting beat by better teams.
Yes.
So I also agree that this team, this could be an 8-8 team. Of course, the first few games against you got your opening game, which is going to be the biggest one against Seattle at home. That's going to be a crazy opener, and if they can beat Seattle at home, that's going to set the pace and set the tone for the entire conference and this team for the rest of the season, I believe. And it's going to be, I think it should be one of the biggest, most advertised games of the season.
Does St. Louis have a chance to make the playoffs this year, or is it going to be Seattle and Arizona again?
They have one of the harder schedules. Again, they're going through a couple of big and perennial playoff teams. Again, you got Seattle and Pittsburgh to start out with, but the season kind of evens out for them. They're in the middle, and the NFL did some interesting things by opening up with conference games in division games the first few weeks. So teams are going to be pretty beat up. I think this is going to work in favor of the Rams. They might squeak by and get a wild card.
Interesting. Okay. That would definitely be... And the NFC, I feel like, is always pretty wide open in terms of the teams that can make it in. I mean, I didn't really I didn't think the Lions were going to be good enough to make the playoffs last year, and they finished 11-5.
And yeah, they did, and for them, it was winning those close games.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what the Rams' problems are going to be, just trying to win those close games with 7 or less points.
Absolutely. We're not even going to talk about the NFC South. That's just a sad state within itself. Flipping over to the AFC West, Denver Broncos, 12-4, like we said last year. Peyton Manning, he's getting really old. Oh, gosh. It's hard for me to want to say that Denver wins the division again this year. But at the same time, Kansas City, Jamal Charles, Alex Smith, Jeremy Maclin, that's about all they got. Travis Kelce, if you really think about the tight end spot. Kansas City's defense is definitely, high quality. San Diego, Phillip Rivers, he's starting to get up there in age. They just got Melvin Gordon in the draft, but Keenan Allen is really not, an elite receiver that they can bet their offense going on, and their defense has got issues. And then you've got a wild card in Oakland. They've got a young quarterback. They've got Amari Cooper, and I feel like nobody knows the team better than you. What's going on with the Raiders?
Well, the biggest thing with the Raiders is trying to figure out their offense now. We believe that they have their defense set. Of course, you got Matt coming back for what was a great season. Definitely Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Absolutely.
Coming off with great accolades. And they've established a tone of how they want to play their defense. So I believe that their key on the defensive end is going to be consistency. On the other end, now you have a couple of wild cards coming in. I mean, you got your first-year rookie, you got Amari Cooper, who has been doing leaps and bounds in Raiders offseason during training camp and during rookie camp, and they've been speaking leaps and bounds about him. You also have coming back for his second year, you also got Rod Streeter, definitely coming off of another decent season. He was one of their only offensive weapons really there down the middle for Carr. But then you also have, if you remember, Michael Crabtree,
yes,
who signed a deal with the Raiders. And that was one of the big head-scratchers of the season. Not so much that he went to the Raiders, but that he left the Niners.
I was a little surprised by that, honestly.
Yeah, I think a few people were. They didn't say that they were after Harbaugh left, but it just all started to disintegrate from there. And I think Crabtree's just looking for that one team to play on for a little bit until he can figure out where he wants to go for the season after that. And he didn't really get much playing time. The Raiders are definitely going to give him a lot of playing time. And add him as an offensive weapon. So the biggest question right now is, how is this three-headed dragon going to work? Literally, you're looking at Cooper, Crabtree, and Streeter, and they're going to be going up against a couple of really big teams in the first three games. Actually, first two games. You have at home against Cincinnati, who always seems to make a wild card and then just blow it all out of the water.
They're just so annoying to me, honestly.
It's like they take up a playoff spot year after year just because they can do it, and then they throw it away.
That's a great way to say it, honestly, because they're not good enough to win a Super Bowl, but they're not bad enough to miss the playoffs.
And it's just amazing that someone as accurate and that has an arm like Andy Dalton and all the receivers that he has year after year after year. We talk leaps and bounds about the Cincinnati team that makes the playoffs, and then what? So I suspect the Raiders have a handful with a great season team. So they play great during the season, which is Cincinnati, and then of course they follow that up again at home again against Baltimore. Ooh. And if anyone remembers how the Ravens went on that shootout last year against the Patriots, I'm not sure if this lineup of Cooper, Crabtree, and Streeter are going to be able to keep up with the offense that the Ravens are putting out. And I don't know what it is, but anytime the Ravens play the Patriots, it always seems to be a shootout, and then you never hear about this for the rest of the year.
Which is true. Now, I'm curious. who the heck is Latavius Murray?
If any of you guys remember, he came out with one amazing run during one of the Raiders games last season.
Yes,
and
that's
then,
about all I was able to find on him when I was trying to research and find him. I was like, oh, he had this really good run, and I'm like, and what else?
And he
nothing.
came in at a great time when the whole run was just full of guys that were either really bad knees or were just coming off of really bad injuries. So he came in at a really good time. Raiders are still trying to find themselves, discover their offense, and he might be in the lineup, but again, the running back position, as far as I know, is still wide open.
He's projected to be the starter, but do we actually think he's going to be the starter is the real question. Oh, I think I lost him. Oh no. Yeah, I guess I just definitely lost Josh. That's totally unfortunate. Please hang tight while we try to get Josh back. Not sure what just happened. Modern technology is a beautiful thing. He must have pushed the wrong button or something. But Josh definitely makes a lot of good points about the Raiders as a whole.
We had a little bit of technical difficulty there.
We did, but we're all good. We got you back. I was like, oh, and Josh is gone. I guess he's done talking. Okay. It happens. Don't worry about it. Anyway, so I'm curious to think.
Still here.
Are you still here? Hello? We got you still? Everybody there?
I think we got a little disconnected there.
It happens. Modern technology is a beautiful thing, Josh.
Gotta love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just wanted to wrap up real quick. Sorry that we cut out there. But,
no, you're fine.
The key game that the Raiders are going to need right now, either if they can steal one against Cincinnati, and they also got a game away against Cleveland. You're looking at some rookies and 2-year players, good veteran team on offense for the Raiders against the questionable quarterback situation in Cleveland, because we still have no idea.
Very questionable.
When a good team in Cleveland is going to develop.
And I think Joe Hayden might be able to help lead the revolution, as it were, in Cleveland. But we'll see. Did you see their sweet practice jerseys they were wearing the other day?
No.
They were like orange and black camo with gray accents. They were pretty sweet.
That is interesting. Always looking to try to spice things up, because if you can't get wins, you can at least still sell LeBron jerseys. I mean, NFL jerseys.
Cleveland can only hope to God that LeBron will end up playing for the Browns one day, which I doubt that.
I'm sure he'd be their best receiver.
He really would. He'd be the best everything, honestly.
I don't know if he'd be the best tackler. He doesn't seem to like contact too much.
That's true. It's true. He might complain about it and ask the ref for 2 free throws or an extra point or something. So, well, Josh, always a pleasure, sir. I appreciate you taking the time, and we will look forward to speaking with you again in probably a few more weeks here, especially when we go 5 days a week. So we're looking forward to having you on as a consistent contributor to the show, sir.
Absolutely. Everyone keep a lookout for the Seattle Seahawks and the Chargers trying to make some splashes in the first few games. And you can always follow me at 4FApollo on Twitter. And again, I'm on Sidelines. Again, thanks for having me.
Anytime, Josh. Joshua Thompson is a senior writer and all things Sidelines at SidelinesApp.com. Go check him out and the great crew that is at Sidelines. We're going to go to a break. Always a pleasure, Josh. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks a lot, man. All right, when we come back, the Green Bay Packers. Yes, sir. I am super excited to talk about the Packers. Casey Korth is going to be here on the show to chat about it. We're going to talk about the Green Bay Packers. Preseason's underway. Aaron Rodgers is making 45-yard pinpoint accuracy shots into little nets, and he's doing karate with Olivia Munn, and I don't know. The Packers are awesome. I love the Packers. We're going to talk about that and a lot more when we come back. This is the Backs and Grand Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. Welcome back to the Bax and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax. No Grant. Grant's off for the summer, but he'll be rejoining us starting August 24th as we will be going back to our regular schedule, which would normally be 3 days a week, but there's a twist. If you call now, no, it's not nothing like that. We will be going to 5 days a week on the Bax and Grant Sports Show starting August 24th. You'll be able to listen to us Monday through Friday. Yes, you have to deal with us 5 days a week, so I'm sorry in advance. You can listen to us from 11 to 1 Central on Sports Radio America and 12 to 2 Eastern, and whatever other time zone you live in, obviously, change it accordingly. So we're looking forward to that. As always, check us out on social media, the Bax and Grant Sports Show on Facebook. You can follow the show, BG Sports Show, on Twitter. You can follow myself at Baxter Colburn. Like I said, I really don't know Grant's Twitter because he changes it almost every other day, so he'll have an easier, more official one when he comes back, when we go back on August 24th. So always a good time. Remember, you can check us out on Monday nights over our summer series on sportsradioamerica.com from 7 to 10 Eastern, live 365, and tune in. All right, this is the part of the show that I have been the most excited for to talk about because it involves the Green Bay Packers, and we'd like to welcome a new guest to the show. His name is Casey Korth, a wonderful new contributor. He's going to be helping us out with a lot of Green Bay Packers coverage with the upcoming season. Casey, welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Baxter.
All right, man. Anytime. Well, I am probably one of the biggest Packer fans most people know, and I'm sure you are just as equal. But you have a lot of insight about the team as a whole, and training camp is going on. Preseason games are just around the corner, Casey. How are you liking the Green Bay Packers going into this season?
I mean, I feel like this year is different than any other year. I mean, normally the Packers are favored pretty heavily about every year. But I feel like this year it's a different feeling, whereas like they're favored to win the Super Bowl, and like everyone knows that, and everyone on the team knows that, and it's just kind of they have that mentality this year where it's Super Bowl or bust.
Do you believe that they have the tools to make a Super Bowl run and win? Ooh, Casey, did we lose you? Casey? Might have lost Casey.
Hello?
Oh, Casey, you're there.
We're good?
Welcome back. How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. I don't know what happened there, but I
don't know what happened. I don't know what happened either.
It happened earlier too. There was another guest on the show too, and he was talking, and then he was gone. So he was done. He didn't want to talk to us anymore. No, it wasn't that. It was just I think his phone accidentally cut out on him. So, but I was asking you, Casey, before we accidentally lost you there. Do you feel that Green Bay has the tools to win a Super Bowl this year?
Oh, yeah. I was saying before I got cut out there for a little bit, that the mentality this year I feel like is a little different than the other years, where we're still favored. Other years, top 3 Super Bowl prediction, in the Vegas odds or whatever. But I feel like this year is even more of like a mentality where it's Super Bowl or bust this year, and everybody knows that they want to get off to that fast start. They want that home field advantage, and they're ready to go. I feel like that Seattle game is still in the back of their head, and they want to get back to the Super Bowl.
Absolutely, and they take on Seattle in Week 2, and Seattle actually comes to Lambeau Field this year, which will definitely be probably the most watched game out of, I'd say, at least the first half of the season, if not the whole season in the NFL schedule, unless I don't really foresee any other games. Maybe, well, that's not true. Week 5, Patriots-Colts, when Brady comes back from his suspension, I think will have a lot of media attention and press around it as well. But Green Bay as a whole, though, Casey, moving forward, they have a very fantastic roster on the offensive side. The defense, I'm not completely sold on the defense. The pass rush is almost non-existent some days in terms of the defensive line. Linebackers, Clay Matthews, should he be an inside linebacker, Casey, or does he belong on the outside?
I mean, the offense is always there for the Packers at the given. I mean, the defense is always a question. They're good one week, they're bad another week. It's always kind of inconsistent. But, Clay Matthews, I would love him at inside linebacker. I mean, the game he played against Chicago on Monday night, he played very phenomenal at inside linebacker. And I feel like he could go inside linebacker, even like just switch it off, here and there during the game. And I mean, Clay Matthews is a huge part of the defense, obviously. He is the heart and soul of the defense. And then the rookie cornerbacks are a big deal as well. Quinn Rollins and Randall. they're going to be huge in the cornerback. The cornerback is a little, losing Tramon Williams is big, but these rookie cornerbacks they're gonna have to step up right away. So that'll be huge.
Absolutely, and that does beg a good question in terms of on the cornerbacks. Sam Shields will more than likely start on one side, and then that does raise a question: who starts on the other side? Is Casey Hayward good enough to start, or will it be Quentin Rollins or Demarius Randall at that other spot?
Yeah, that's a question. I mean, that's my biggest concern right now. Is looking at the Packers right now. The biggest question is cornerback, and the secondary as a whole. HaHa Clinton's coming back at safety for his second year. But, losing Tramon Williams, I mean, rookies, they're not always going to come, they still got to learn the playbook and everything. But, cornerback's a big deal. And, Tramon Williams has some big shoes to fill. But I think we got some pretty talented. Ted Thompson knows what he's doing. That's why he drafted cornerbacks right away. And,
absolutely.
I think they can come in and help or fill the void right away.
And more than likely, it'll be Morgan Burnett and HaHa Clinton-Dix at the two safety spots this year. Unless another player really kind of jumps out of nowhere and does something crazy. I wouldn't be too shocked, though, with Matthews if he does end up playing that middle linebacker. But the question is then who goes next to him? Do you have Sam Barrington next to him, or do you have the rookie that they drafted out of Michigan, Jake Ryan, start opposite Matthews at that middle linebacker spot? And then who do you throw on the outsides? Julius Peppers obviously on one side, but who plays that other side?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's why where the preseason comes into play. A lot of position battles. You got to see, injuries, everything. There's a lot to figure out still. But I mean, if defense is the question for the Packers, it's not like they have a terrible defense.
No, it's not saying that they're going to be absolutely horrible, but there are still a lot of question marks that even casual Packer fans are scared to think about.
Yeah, losing A.J. Hawk. The veterans, A.J. Hawk, Tramon Williams, they're going to have some young guys coming in, which, very talented, but, at the same time, they're rookies. So they got to learn the playbook. They got to learn how to play in the NFL. So that's where I'm excited to see, the first couple games of preseason, how they do. Absolutely.
Now, I'm curious, Casey, your thoughts. I feel like Jared Aberdarius he's a fantastic player, but the man keeps getting hurt. Is it just destiny that he's just not going to end up on this Packers roster eventually?
And if you're on the Packers receiving corps, it's not a good time to get hurt.
Absolutely not. There's no room for slip-ups because they have the rookie Ty Montgomery. They've got a ton of wide receivers going into camp right now, and obviously a majority of them won't make the team. They'll probably take 5 or 6 and maybe throw 2 on the practice squad. But Aberdarius, he has a knee injury the first day, and then he gets a concussion. And what? I feel like Packer fans are dying for Aberdarius to be that great, hometown story. He played at Madison. The Packer fans, the Badger fans, everybody knows him. They love him. And they want him to be able to have a good, successful career with the Packers. It's just hard to argue against all the injuries that keep following him around, though.
Yeah, you're on the wrong receiving corps if you're trying to get hurt. If you keep getting hurt right now, you're probably arguably the best receiving corps in the whole league. Now is not the time to get hurt if you're trying to win a roster spot. Absolutely.
Now, speaking about the receivers as a whole, Devontae Adams, is he the clear third receiver, or is Ty Montgomery or Jeff Janis going to make a push for that third spot, you feel?
I think Devontae Adams got that third receiver spot locked up. Mike McCarthy said he was the MVP of OTAs. Rodgers was praising about him, saying he a big upgrade from last year, talking about improvement from a rookie season to a second-year player. They were just praising Devontae Adams of how much improvement he's been making. So I think Devontae Adams got that third receiver locked up.
Absolutely. Now, there really isn't much to argue about in terms of the quarterback position. Aaron Rodgers, no real, issue there. Eddie Lacy at running back, not too big of a worry there. The tight end spot, though, Casey, that makes me a little worried, not going to lie. Andrew Corliss, we're not really sure what's going on with him. But Richard Rodgers has received a lot of high praise from the coaching staff. Do you think Richard Rodgers, as it were, will have the talent to be able to be the first-string tight end this year?
Yeah, last year as a rookie, Rodgers said he had the best hands on the team, and that's a pretty big compliment
coming from Aaron Rodgers. Absolutely,
arguably the best quarterback in the league. And and he was a rookie. Now he's a second year. He knows the playbook. He knows Rodgers' style. He It's a big difference coming from a rookie to a second-year player, in my opinion.
Yes.
And I think he has a big time he has a chance to have a breakout year.
Absolutely. Now, one other question, Casey, before we let you go. Looking back at the quarterback position, last year the Packers only carried 2 quarterbacks. They've got 4 on the roster right now: Matt Blanchard, Brett Hundley, Aaron Rodgers, and Scott Tolzien. Do the Packers carry 3 quarterbacks throughout the season, or do they cut 2 of these guys loose?
I think they keep 3. I feel like they kept 3 last year when it was a close battle between Tolzien and Flynn. And I believe they do the same thing. Hundley, he's a rookie. They drafted him, fifth, sixth round about.
Yep.
And I feel like they're going to keep him no matter what. And I feel like they can't let Tolzien go. So I feel like they keep Tolzien and Hundley.
Fair enough. All right. Well, Casey, always a pleasure. We look forward to speaking with you more consistently, definitely when you join the show, starting when we do our 5-day-a-week show on August 24th. Enjoy the rest of your day, sir. We look forward to hearing more of your Packer insights throughout the preseason and regular season.
All right. Thanks, Baxter. Thanks for having me on.
Anytime, man. Enjoy your day.
All right. Thank you.
That is Casey Korth, one of the Bax and Grant Sports Show. I guess I would call him a Packer. I don't know. He's not an insider. Well, he's kind of an insider. Casey Korth, our Green Bay Packers insider, among many other genres of sports that he knows. He's a pretty big basketball and NBA, as a sport industry and MLB. And we'll look forward to having him on the show more, and maybe he might be one of our new interns. You never know. We might have intern Laura might have some competition this year. We'll keep her on her toes, though. So we're going to go to one more break. When we come back, we're going to chat about the 2022. Yeah, I know. It's a few years away. 2022 Winter Olympic Games being held in Beijing, China. Talk about that and the controversy surrounding it. And then we'll be signing off for another edition. This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. Welcome back to the Bax and Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax. No Grant. Grant's off for the summer, but he will be rejoining the show starting August 24th. And the Bax and Grant Sports Show goes to 5 days a week. Yes, not 1, not 2, or 3, or 4, or 5 days a week. The count will come and count the 5 days that will be on the air. Count the Dracula. Or no, the Count. I think that was his name on Sesame Street. I don't know. I didn't watch Sesame Street as a kid. I was homeschooled. I was sheltered from things like that. But that's irrelevant. Anyway, sorry on that little tangent there. Yes, Bax and Grant Sports Show returns August 24th. 5 days a week, you'll be able to listen to us on Sports Radio America from 11 to 1 Central or 12 to 2 Eastern, depending on what time zone and region of the world you listen to. We talked earlier in the show about having a relatively surprisingly strong following in England, so cheers to all of you mates listening in England. We appreciate it. Spread the word. Tell your friends. Let's keep taking over Europe, the Bax and Grant Sports Show. Like, instead of, the British invasion when the Beatles came, we're going to have the American invasion of the Bax and Grant Sports Show going to England. So, looking forward to that. Maybe we'll do a show over there one day. You never know. That would be fun. Live from Wembley Stadium. Woo! Or just a pub on the corner. That would be awesome. Bax and Grant Sports Show going international. Well, we've had a pretty fun, exciting show thus far. We talked to Joshua Thompson of SidelineZap.com. We talked to Casey Korth, our new Bax and Grant Sports Show. Well, we'll call him a football insider because he loves the Packers, but he also has knowledge on a lot of other teams as well. So Casey Korth joined the show. Matt Evans of Vavel USA joined the show earlier as well. Talked about a lot of fun things. So before we close out the show today, some news coming out. The International Olympic Committee has officially awarded the 2022 Winter Olympics to Beijing, China. A very exciting time for the Chinese. Beijing was chosen 44-40 over its only opponent, which a little surprising who it was, Almaty of Kazakhstan. I didn't know Kazakhstan, was the thing. Borat and all that, thought it was made up. Actually, it wasn't. Kazakhstan is a real country, and they were trying to get the Winter Olympics, and unfortunately did not work out, lost out by 4 votes. And now Beijing will become the first city to have hosted both the Summer and the Winter Olympic Games. They hosted the Summer Games in 2008, for those of you that remember. There will also be the 3rd consecutive Olympics in East Asia after the 2018 Winter Games that will be taking place in South Korea. And then the 2020 Summer Games will be taking place in Tokyo, Japan. So Asia basically owns the Olympics, so we might as well just continue to go there because they seem to know what's going on. Whether or not you agree with the fact that Beijing now will be hosting the 2022 Winter Olympics is totally up to you. I've actually heard that the Olympics will not be happening in Beijing. They will be happening 150 miles, I think it's north, maybe west, east, 150 miles outside of Beijing. So Beijing, it's not even fair that Beijing has the Olympics because everything is taking place off-site because they don't have room for it in Beijing because the city is so crammed together. I don't know. They do it differently that side of the border, but who cares? That's what fun. That's the sports world, and that's why we love it, and that's why shows like the Baxter Grant Sports Show have reason to get on the air, and we love that. So another exciting edition of the Baxter Grant Sports Show is in the books. Huge thank you to Matt Evans of Vavel USA, Josh Thompson of SidelineZap.com, and our new football insider, Casey Korth, all stopping by to talk about the great and wonderful sports world. Remember, check us out on Sports Radio America Monday nights from 7 to 10 Eastern and live 365 and tune in. Download our podcast on iTunes, and you can listen to us on demand anytime on Spreaker.com and on iHeartRadio as well. Drop us a line on the email anytime you want, bgsportshow@gmail.com, and then find us on social media, the Max and Grant Sports Show on Facebook, BG Sports Show on Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram. Thanks for watching on Periscope. Thanks for listening here on Sports Radio America. Huge shout out to everybody in the sports world. NFL has returned. You will not have another month in 2015 without NFL football. It's a great day to be alive. I'm Baxter Colburn. This is the Bax and Grand Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America.